Mozambique is a country in southeastern Africa, and this is its flag. Now, as you can see, the symbol on the flag here with a book, a hoe, and also an assault rifle. It's actually an AK-47 assault rifle. And in this video, I want to find out why on earth do they, and two other countries actually, but specifically Mozambique in this one, have an assault rifle on their flag. Well, Mozambique has been and was for a very long time a Portuguese colony, and at the end of the Second World War, when the Allies had just won the war, a new kind of ideology came to Africa, and this was of course communism. I should also mention that it's not just the introduction of communism in its various forms into Africa that started the drive for independence. There were obviously before this time and afterwards especially lots of Africans who wanted self-rule, self-determination and freedom from the colonial powers that had come and colonized them over the last centuries. But communism was a large factor that drove several of them, and a lot of these nationalist movements were integrated with various communist movements, as we will see. Now, in Portugal's colonies this was no different, and starting in 1961, actually in the neighbouring country of Angola was the first of Portugal's colonial wars. But 3 years later in 1964, this conflict had also spread to Mozambique, where a movement called the Frelimo had started, and this was their flag, which obviously we'll get onto later. Now, Frelimo stands for the Frente de Libertación de Mozambique, in my best Portuguese. And they fought a long guerrilla campaign against the Portuguese in Africa, and because obviously they went for a more Marxist kind of ideology, they were supported and supplied in large part by various communist powers, the largest being the Soviet Union, as well as others like Cuba and Bulgaria, I believe, and some of the Eastern Bloc countries. And so many of these supplies came in the form of weapons, and specifically the Kalashnikov, the AK-47, which many of them used and was well suited to the jungle terrain of Mozambique for fighting against their Portuguese adversaries. However, by 1970, the Portuguese had started a large counter-offensive, very aggressively taking back territories lost and punching a hole through Frelimo, as well as killing many civilians in the process, which is always the case in this kind of guerrilla style of fighting. However, despite the new AK-47s given to them by the Soviets and others, the Frelimo were unable to really defeat the Portuguese in combat, who had a much more advanced army. However, in 1974, there was a revolution in Portugal itself, in Lisbon, called the Carnation Revolution, which was against the military dictatorship-style government which had been in place in Portugal. And during this rebellion, there was obviously a regime shift in Portugal, and they decided to give up parts of the empire, including Mozambique and Angola and their African territories. So these territories then became their own independent nations, Mozambique included. And now Mozambique decided to adopt the colours of the flag of the Frelimo, which had been the Pan-African colours of green, black and gold, as well as the red, which is sometimes added into those, as well as being obviously a Marxist colour. And they came up with this design, which was shifting around the colours essentially. And they also came up with this first design of the AK-47, the hoe and the book. Now this is like the crossed symbol of the Soviet Union, the hammer and sickle, except the hoe is more used in African agriculture and represents the agriculture of Mozambique. The red star there is representing the red star of Marxism, and obviously the cog is for the industry that they would hope to create, also relating to the Marxist kind of symbols there. Now, because this new nation was following a Marxist route, there were obviously those who weren't happy with the new land distribution and totalitarian style of government, and so within 3 years of the end of the Portuguese war that they had fought against their colonial adversaries, they were fighting amongst themselves during the Mozambique Civil War, where another group fought against the regime, and this war went on for a long time and claimed many lives as well. And during this conflict, obviously the AK-47 was still used, and so the AK-47 became the symbol of Mozambique's defiance against not only the Portuguese regime but also against each other and every side in the civil war. And so this gun was then shown on the flag, as it had played such a crucial role in the country becoming independent, as so many had been supplied by the Soviets and other communist-style governments throughout the world. So thank you very much for watching. This has been my short video on why the flag of Mozambique features an AK-47. Now I hope this has been somewhat interesting. I thought it was, as well as a bit of colonial history. I think I'm going to do a bit more of that kind of colonial history, including why some empires fell down the years and how that occurred, because it's a part of history that's not that long ago. In my parents' generation, many of these places were still part of colonial empires, and today there are hardly any left. So thank you very much for watching. I've been History with Hilbert, and this has been Why the Flag of Mozambique has an AK-47 on it. I hope you all have a great day.